Yesterday, as I was praying and reflecting, and I got to the end of today's gospel from St. John, I had one of those moments in answer to something that I think most of us wrestle with. And that is, why does God allow certain things in life to occur? I bet by now that all of us have a list of things that we'd categorize as, this just doesn't seem right or fair. And among our faithful brothers and sisters, I've often heard it said, well, one day, if I make it to heaven, I'm going to have a lot of questions for Jesus. But to that, Jesus says, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy away from you. Jesus continues, on that day, you will not question me about anything. That's when it hit me. When we see Jesus face to face, everything will be revealed. Everything will make sense. We have no more questions, only rejoicing forever. Sounds pretty good. So that's what we can expect when we see Jesus one day. But what about the here and now? For that, we look to our first reading from the Acts of the Apostles. Listen to the words of the Lord given to St. Paul and to us. Do not be afraid. Go on speaking, and do not be silent, for I am with you. In that message, God spoke to Paul's natural fear of physical harm for preaching the word of God. In certain places in our world, our brothers and sisters face physical danger for merely practicing our Catholic faith in their worship. An even greater threat with their public witness of this faith in God. So St. Paul did trust in God, and he settled in Corinth for a year and a half. And it was there that he taught the word of God. This was another point of interest because so often we focus on Paul's action-packed adventures, his nonstop missionary trips that included shipwrecks, imprisonment, beatings, and trials. But today we see he also enjoyed times of relative calm and peace. Hopefully, most of our lives look more like this part of St. Paul's life. But at times, we might even feel that these times that are ordinary can feel mundane. But as it was for St. Paul, these times have so much potential. While in Corinth, Paul worked in his business. He was able to support himself. And his work brought him in contact with all sorts of people that he could help materially and spiritually. St. Paul used this ordinary time to care for the Corinthian community, helping them to mature in their faith by his evangelization and his works of mercy. My brothers and sisters, we can use St. Paul as our role model. In the quieter, less busy times, we can take some extra time to pray, to study, to reach out to others in need. And believe me, I know that many of you, if not all of you, are doing this right now. God bless you. When I think of the different people that I'm blessed to know, including those of you gathered here in the chapel, it strikes me that whether we're in a quiet time, a busy time, or really wild time, we can begin each day by thanking God for the gift of life. We can trust him that whatever our current circumstances, especially within our families, that God will help us to live out our vocations and our missions in the right here and the right now. Do not be afraid. Trust in God.